Hey, welcome back to the Girl Be Free podcast. I'm your host, Siobhan, your community cultivator and founder of Be Free Project. I help women who are ready to flourish, feel fulfilled, and be free to show up for themselves. I am deeply passionate about community, sisterhood, and personal growth. So if that's your jam, keep on listening. And now let's get into the show. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. So I'm not sure if you can hear that sound or not, but there is nature sounds going on around me just based on where the Be Free Project headquarters is. It's like so many trees all around me. So you may hear like crickets and things like that. But I just want to point that out before we move forward. Okay, so what I am loving this week is Disney Plus. Yes, I am totally serious. So I subscribed to Disney Plus, about a few weeks ago, simply so that I could watch Black is King. And then after I watched it like 50 million times, I'm like, oh my goodness, there are some really good shows on here or good movies. So I started watching A Bug's Life, Inside Job. I watched Hamilton. Like some of my favorite movies that I watched with the kids when they were small, I was having nostalgia, so I started watching all these movies again. And so Disney Plus, I am loving it, and I think I'm going to keep it because there's so many good cartoon movies that I still want to watch, and it is a great way to entertain my inner child and spend time with the kids too because some of the movies they still want to watch to this day. So that is what I'm loving this week, Disney Plus, but also I am loving Black is King. Like it is so good. I've watched it so many times and I'm going to watch it again. If you haven't watched it, you totally should. All right, so this week I'm talking about 5 lessons that I've learned during quarantine. And so I'm going to start off by sharing a text that I sent to my friend that gave me the inspiration for this particular episode. And the text that I sent her said, thinking about this year, nothing was planned for, and yet everything that has happened has been for the best. All of the hardest moments when I felt like I couldn't breathe is to get just in this place for emotional healing, not only for myself, but my family. This is not the glow up I had in mind, but it's worth every single tear. And I sent that text to her because we had just been texting back and forth, and I was reflecting, thinking about this year. And 2020 has been a doozy, and I'm sure many of us can agree. And even though there has been many ups and downs, I still stand true to this is my glow up year. And also, I live such a beautiful life. And there's been some really great lessons that I've learned that I want to share with you. So, number one, I can do hard things. You know what? I can do very hard things. Now, this is something that I knew before, but I have really been tested this year. And I just feel like if it wasn't one situation, it was another. And there were times when I felt like I was suffocating or I was drowning and I was just crumbling inside. And I remember telling friends, I'm like, I just want to go to sleep for a couple of years and wake me up when this is all over. But what I know to be true is that I can do hard things. I was built for this. And even with all of the hard times that I faced this year, every single moment I'm truly grateful for because my life is better for it. And had this been maybe a year ago or 2 years ago, I don't think that I would have handled everything the same. In fact, I know I wouldn't have handled everything the same. So, this is something that I recite often. I even have this affirmation set up on my board that says, I can do hard things because it's very true. And when I look at each situation that I face, it's never the hardest thing that I've been through. And so when I keep that into perspective, it helps me to keep moving forward. So that's number one. I can do hard things. Number two, I live a beautiful life right now. And what I mean by that is that I'm not waiting on anything or anyone to make my life better. I am exactly where I'm supposed to be, and all the pieces of my life are amazing. And I love the life that I get to live. Like, I get to take walks in the middle of the day. I get to FaceTime with my friends. I get to eat delicious food. I get to take walks with my family in the middle of the day or, just hang out and watch TV with them. I get to take naps when I choose. I get to travel freely within limits, especially with the coronavirus. I get to work from the Be Free Project headquarters. Seriously, my life is so beautiful, and I'm not taking one moment for granted. And I really can go on, but every day I look at my life and how beautiful it's set up. And this is the life I dreamed of living. I remember when I was in corporate America and I would walk around the pond that was outside during my lunch break, and I would think to myself, I just want to be free. I just want to be free to do exactly what I want at any time of the day that I want. And I didn't want anyone controlling that for me. So now to be in this place where I get to do exactly that, I get to go for walks multiple times per day. I get to do work that I'm deeply passionate about that's changing lives all over the world. I get to use what I create in my mind and use that to help people. I mean, I am just so grateful for the life that I'm living, and I'm being very mindful of the present moments and loving the beauty of all of it. Number 3, self-awareness is so important. I've talked about this a little bit on the podcast, but I am very attuned and connected with myself. And what I mean by that, like, I know my emotions, I know my feelings, I know my triggers, and I'm mindful. So when I'm feeling tired, I will take a nap at any given time at this point. Or when I'm feeling off or maybe there's some anxiety, I will go for a walk, and usually after I take my walk, I'll be much more grounded. I'm very in tune with my emotions, where I now know that I can feel, let's just say, angry, but then also be inspired by the work that I'm doing. So I'm learning to carry multiple feelings at the same time and being okay with that. And as I'm learning more about myself, I'm able to set boundaries with friends and family. I'm able to have healthier conversations. I listen to my intuition. You know that whisper that Oprah talks about? Like, my intuition now, that whisper is louder. And the more that I'm paying attention to it, the more guidance that I get. And that is just such a beautiful thing. And I'm able to manifest what I desire. And I may have talked about this before as well, where now I'm at a point where I can think about something or have a desire to get a question answered or just need something in my life. And within 24 hours, especially when I go on my walks the next day, I always have some type of revelation. And it's really been really, really powerful. So when I talk about self-awareness, I want everyone in my community to really tap into that more, because the more aware you are of yourself, the deeper you connect with yourself and the more that you're going to grow. Number 4, and I love this, I am surrounded by so much love from my family, from my friends, from my community with the podcast, Be Free Project in general. I am covered and surrounded by so much love, and the love is genuine. And what I love is that I am loved just for being me, just for showing up exactly the way that I am. No more do I have to perform or pretend or wear a mask out of fear that someone's going to judge me or not like me. No, what you see is what you get. And that is showing up, or let me say, and that is how I show up in my friendships, is how I show up in my marriage as a mom, any of my family members. What you see on, and then also within Be Free Project, like, you guys are getting the full version of me. And I am just grateful because with me showing up as my full self, I'm being loved more and more and more. And that feels so damn good. Number five, oh, well, maybe number five is my favorite. Doing things my way is the best way. Let me explain what I mean by that. For so long, I thought that I had to do things the way that people said I had to do them, whether it was as an entrepreneur, like this is the way that you run your business, or this is the way that you mother, this is the way that you are a wife. And because I'm very unconventional, I'm very free spirited, structure and the way that other people do things, that doesn't work for me. So I have been leaning into, and I've been on this path for years, but now I'm really tuning into doing things my way, and that is perfectly fine. And I know that I fully get to create the life that I want to live. And that means that I make up my own rules. And I'm going to do a whole episode about this, but I just kind of want to touch on this because this is a lesson that I learned, that when I do things my way, that's me being my most authentic self. For example, when I send out my newsletters, and you can subscribe to my newsletter at befreeproject.com/newsletter, and the link will be in the show notes for you. No longer am I following what the gurus say on how you should send out a newsletter. I now send my newsletters out on Sundays at 11:11, and that's intentional, and that feels good to me. And when I send out my newsletter at 11:11, that there's a spiritual connection there, is authentic to who I am, and I've been getting notes from you guys telling me how you are loving the newsletters, and I'm freely writing them from a space of as if I was writing my journal. So if you're subscribed to my newsletter, I sent out a survey a few weeks ago asking my audience what was their greatest problem. And 82% of my audience said that they lacked consistency on their personal growth journey. And when I saw that, I'm like, wow, because that is something that I get complimented on the most, is my consistency. And as you can see, even with sharing, the lessons that I've learned during quarantine, this is how I'm fully showing up for myself. And so what I'm doing now within the Be Free Inner Circle, we're doing more live video calls. So in September, I'm teaching 2 workshops on how to get unstuck, because many of you guys listening on the podcast, subscribe to my newsletter, follow me on social media, are stuck. You're stuck in your mind. You are stuck with fear, you have limiting beliefs, and it's why you can't stay consistent and move forward. So I want to invite you to join the Be Free Inner Circle, a membership space for real sisterhood and accountability. Again, in the month of September, I'm teaching 2 workshops on getting unstuck, and you do not want to miss it. So all you need to do is become a member today by going to befreeinnercircle.com to learn more about the community. And then your action step for this week is that I want you to take time and think through what are some of the lessons that you have learned over the last 8 months or so since we've been in quarantine. And I really want you to think through it, okay? And then if you ever want to share your responses with me, you can shoot me an email, or you can follow me on the gram either at Siobhan Sudbury or Be Free Project and send me a DM, and that would be perfect. As always, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode. I want you to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and let me know what you thought about the episode or any episode. And then also make sure you're following me on social media. And then lastly, share the episode with a friend. You can share in your IG stories. You can share on your feed. Just tag me at Be Free Project or Siobhan Sudbury so I can see it. And then also text the link or a picture of the episode to your friend. Like, girl, go listen to this. You need to subscribe. And until next time, girl, be free.
My name is Linda Mallory, and I am from Beltsville, Maryland, which is just outside of Washington, D.C. And what I love most about the Be Free Inner Circle is Siobhan. She keeps all of the ladies engaged, and we share our personal wins, maybe some of our losses, some things that we are struggling with. She keeps us going with daily prompts. We also have a book club, which I run, which has been amazing. And I really enjoy all the content and just some of the community events as well. So it's really a full-on community, and it has grown into something that I really value, and I look forward to getting the prompts every day and reading, and also just connecting virtually with all the ladies. We're from all over the world, and you wouldn't even know it being in an online platform that we're not sitting right in each other's living rooms. So I definitely love that the most about the Be Free Inner Circle.